Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Brass Dragons music channel. My name is Ralph Martin, and I'm doing part 3 of a series on major scale diatonic progressions. Later on, I'm going to transition into minors, which is a very close relative of this. But let's get through the major ones. Now, as I promised in my last video, I'm going to talk about diatonic chord substitutions, and this should be fairly quick. Now, I've already talked about the major scale, constructing it real quickly. I didn't go into depth in it, and I talked about the diatonic triads of the major scale. 1, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C. Okay? And I ran through 1 chord progressions, 2 chord progressions, and 3 chord progressions. But today I'm going to talk about substitutions. Now, let's start with the 1 chord. If I change just one note, I can go to whole nother chord. Now I went from a C major, C E G, to C E A. I took the 5th of the C major chord and I turned it into the root of the next chord, which is A minor. Now the reason why this is a substitution is because it sounds very similar. It's got the same function, if you will. C major, A minor, C major, A minor. I just put it back in root position. Okay, so that's one substitution. Now, one of the reasons this works is because the C and the E, which plays a major role, if you will, in the major chord, because it defines the C major chord. If I play just these, it implies that G. Okay? So if I leave that and I just change the G to the A, it changes it slightly, gives us this minor feel, but at the same time, it's still got that basic function, the C and E. Now if I go to the 4 chord, we're going to do major to minor substitutions. If I go to the 4 chord, which is an F, and again I take the 5 and I raise it up a whole step. Again, the F and the A are still there, defining the F major chord. So it's just a little bit of a change. Okay, so you can go from F major to D minor. You can substitute them out. If you substitute everything out, then you're in a minor progression, not a major progression. But if you're C major, A minor, F major, G, C. See, the C didn't really change. But if I make 2 changes there, okay, from the 1 chord to the 6th chord, but instead of going to F, I'm going to substitute into D minor, the 2 chord, the G chord, the 5 chord, to 1. 1, 6, 2, 5. Very common progression, been used many, many, many times. And there's a couple of little variations even on that those 4 chords. But you can see how substitution really didn't change anything. That's basically the 1 chord. That's the 4 chord. The 4 and the 2 are same function as the 4 chord. Then I go to the 5, which wants to lead back to 1. Now the 5 has a substitution too. That's the 3, the E minor. Again, the G and the B are still defined. I took the 5 and I went to a 1. And again, it does change it a little bit, but it still functions as a dominant chord within the C major triad, the C major scale. Okay? There's also one other chord that we can use. And that's the B diminished. It's not really used as a substitution all that much. A lot of times it's used as maybe like a passing chord. Like that. Or like that. A couple different ways you can use it. You can throw it in almost anywhere that the dominant. Now, in order to do this, what I did is I took the G and I went down a whole step and I created the B diminished. So the B diminished is acting as a substitution for the G. And the reason this particularly works is because the B and the D, this tritone here, I haven't talked about tritones at all, but at some point I will in a later series. But that wants to resolve to that. Now that is not the same. C to E minor, even though I only changed 1 note, because this defining factor becomes that defining factor for it. Going from C to E minor. The definition, now this feels like 1, 5, A minor, which feels like a 1, 2, 5, 1. Okay, so you can substitute those around any way you want. All right. You can do a lot of different things with just these substitutions. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't do something different rather than just a straight substitution. You can. Okay, so hopefully you understand 1 to 6, 4 to 2, 5 to 3. Those are the basic substitutions for a major scale. Okay? Again, if I just stayed in minor, there's no substitutions going on. Although it's still 1, 4, 5, but it's all minor and feels different. And that's a topic for another broadcast. Okay, so I hope this clarifies chord substitutions within a major scale framework. Okay? Hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe. Hit the notice button when I pop more of these out. And I hope you all are well, safe, and happy.